lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me.
All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's show. This is the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and this is the newly branded Night Terrors. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hope you guys are doing great. Happy end of your Monday. I hope it was a brilliant day, whatever it held for you. I can't begin to guess, but I'm just hoping it was good, whatever it was. So you made it, though. You're through it, and now on to the rest of the week. Let's see. Anything going on? Not a lot going on here. I don't know. It's just me and some spooky stories and a whole lot of ambition to keep you entertained. So, I don't know. The phone lines will be open throughout the duration of the show. So, if you have a paranormal event of your very own that you'd love to share here on the show, please feel free to do that. You can call in at 720-923-0500. 720-923-0500. And the number will always be right up there. So if you want to call in and be a part of the show, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. But podcast is out today. It was just some really cool ones. I had an interview today that I conducted for the podcast, an upcoming podcast, which will be an excellent one. It was a great discussion. I talked to the Irish Bigfoot Research Organization today, a couple gentlemen from over across the pond, and had a great talk with them about the whole Bigfoot situation over in Ireland. And that'll be upcoming on one of these days in the very near future. But let's see, anything else? I guess, I don't know. I can't think of anything right off the bat here, but I hope you guys are all ready, because we're going in. Hi, everybody. It's been so long. Hope you're having a great day. I'm here for you. I am ready to roll. How many people are coming in now? The numbers are climbing quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, just as a side note, please do check your subscriptions, and please do check that little bell is rung. If you want it rung, it's up to you, I guess. I don't mean to imply that you definitely do, but I've been hearing from several people now that weren't getting notifications. They didn't know why, and then they checked, and they were unsubscribed, and obviously by unsubscribing, they would have the bell unrung too. So they said that they hoped I would pass it along to the rest of our listeners. If anybody else is having trouble with getting notifications, check. And if you're noticing that you're getting unsubscribed too, let me know. It won't really matter. There's not much I can do about it. It's just YouTube's deal. I don't know what causes it. I don't pretend to understand all of the technicalities involved with their system, but just keep checking that. But for some reason, people get unsubscribed. I don't know why. The subs are climbing, but it just makes me wonder how many people are being unsubscribed out there. What would our sub count really be? Is what you got to wonder. So anyway, hey, Duke, good to see you, brother. Glad you found us. Duke was so excited. He contacted me a half hour ago, ready to go. So the man is just committed. So anyway, I guess that's it. I got some stories pulled up for you guys, And I'm going to read them and hope you'll enjoy them. And we'll just have a fine, good evening. So let's see how we do. The first story tonight is coming from Alabama. It says, I was 8 years old when my Aunt Wendy, who lived in Tennessee, gave me a porcelain Joker doll that had what looked like a red teardrop. We were getting ready for bed, and since we were staying with them, we didn't have anywhere to put it, and my mom set it on the shelf in the front room, and while my mom and I were lying there talking, we got the feeling that something was watching us. When we looked around, no one was there, and everyone was asleep, and my mom looked over to the Joker doll and noticed it was pointed towards us. Thinking she had faced it towards the door, Mom got up and turned it to face the wall, and my water bottle just tipped over. It was empty, but it just tipped over. Where was I? Welcome to the portal. This is what happens here. Says, for a few minutes, I said, Mom got up and turned it to face the wall again, and we laid there talking for a few minutes when we heard a scratching noise on the shelf, like something heavy was being turned around. And when we looked over to the shelf, the Joker doll was pointed towards us once again. Thinking it was my cousin, we went into her room to see if she was asleep. And I knew this as I hit her leg, and she was never a good faker. After realizing that she was asleep, we went back to the front room and laid the Joker flat on its face. Later that night, with everyone asleep, my mom got up to use the bathroom and realized the Joker was lying on its back. So Mom got up, got it, put it in the bag with our clothes, and the feeling as if someone was watching us was finally done. The next morning, we got a call about a house. In the process, Mom told my dad that she wanted to get rid of the doll, and Dad said no because my aunt gave it to me, and we were unloading some stuff, and Mom put the Joker doll in our hallway closet, hoping my dad wouldn't find it, and much to our dislike, my dad watched my mom put it in there, and my dad brought it to the bedroom and put it on my dresser, and he said, "This is where I want it to stay." The feeling of being watched returned, and I was laying there glancing at my dresser to the Joker doll and noticed it had an evil smile on its face. I hollered for my mom, and when she came in, she noticed it too, and she put it in the drawer. The next morning, we were telling my dad about what had happened, and he was not believing in that stuff, told us to shut up and that we were making it up, and Mom decided to call my Aunt Wendy and asked her if she had ever noticed anything out of the ordinary, and my aunt said, yeah, and that was the reason they put it in the shed out back. Later that night, my dad came home from work, and we told him what my aunt had told us. Unfortunately, my aunt denied it all, making my mom and I look like idiots. So again, that night, Mom put it back in the dresser drawer, and she went to turn the coffee pot on so Dad would have coffee in the morning and went to bed. The next day, my mom and I were sitting in the kitchen, and Dad came in the kitchen holding the Joker doll and told us that he said he wanted it to stay on my dresser. Being 8 years old, I knew I had better listen to him, and I went and put it on my dresser, and then he started cussing, saying that he didn't see any problem with the Joker doll, and we better keep it on my dresser. Wow, what a dick. He didn't believe in stuff like that, and I asked my mom if she would lie down with me, and she said yes. Still feeling an evil presence in the room, my mom said a prayer with me, and we fell asleep. The next morning when my dad got up, he came into the room where we were and told my mom he wanted the doll out of there. And Mom says that she thought he didn't believe in things like that when we'd been telling him, yet he just now decides that he wants the doll out of the house. He began telling her that the night before he got up to use the bathroom, stepped into my room, and the Joker doll had an evil smile on its face, and he heard an evil laugh. Now believing us, he went into my room, got the Joker doll, and took it outside and tried to burn it. Only the clothes burnt, and the face turned black from the smoke. And then he got it out of the trash barrel and hit it with a hammer, but only part of its face chipped. Getting freaked out, he took it to the neighborhood dumpster and threw it in there, and we never saw it again, and everything in my room went back to normal. A week later, I became friends with a boy in my class, and we were all over at his parents' house for supper when I looked in the front room, and there on the shelf was the Joker doll, just like the one I used to have. Later, my mom asked if she could look at it, and she noticed a mark where it was made that mine didn't have, and it didn't have the red teardrop. After seeing that, my mom asked where they got it from, and they told her what store, and my mom called my aunt Wendy to ask her about my doll, and she told my mom that same store. My mom asked my aunt about the teardrop, and my aunt said that she asked the store clerk about it as it was the only one, and the teardrop didn't look like any kind of paint, that it looked more like blood. When my dad got on the phone, he asked my aunt about it again, and my aunt told him that they had experienced what they had experienced, and they thought that it didn't have anything to do with the Joker doll, even though she said they felt an evil feeling like someone watching them, which went away when the Joker doll was put in the shed. Now, you can choose to believe this or not, but if you don't, please don't post any rude comments. I was wondering if the reason the Joker doll was like that, could it have been made by someone that was into witchcraft? Witchcraft. There's that term again. Witchcraft. Well, I don't know. Could have been made ceremonially. I don't know if it was witchcraft. It would be dark craft of some kind. Some kind of maybe Lovecraft. HP Lovecraft. All right, let's see what's next here. We got Virginia is coming up next here. So it looks like we're heading to Virginia. There's 43 of you. Glad you guys are coming in. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm just looking at the chat here, and lots of you guys are coming in. So it always gives me a great feeling to light up the window. Jesus,
ready to check catering off your to-do list? Easy Cater brings you tons of local caterers, makes it easy to place and track your order, and even rewards you with cash.
Well, there's that. Just an ad just popped up out of nowhere. That's awesome. Hate these websites that do that. Ugh. Got your shirt in the mail. Oh, good job, Smoking Joe. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I hope you like it. I hope to see a picture of it. If you don't mind, put it on, take a picture, send it in. I'm trying to collect a catalog of all the gear owning listeners of the show. So if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it, but it's up to you. Yeah. Hey, Isaac, good to see you. We're getting more and more sales of the T-shirts and stuff. So thank you all to those of you who are helping to support the show that way. It really does go a long way. We do have the beginnings of revenue streams on the show, but by and large, it's just peanuts. We're not making a ton of money doing the show. We're making just peanuts from income streams that we have now. So it's really it still remains a labor of love. So. And it's not cheap, unfortunately. So anything you guys can do is wonderful. I hope you guys want to buy the shirts and want to wear the Paranormal Portal logo. That to me is a great honor, and I really appreciate it. So thank you to everyone who's helped to support that. Let's see. Virginia. There it was. It says place a few miles away from the Virginia coast. My house was built along with the rest of my neighborhood in the middle of a large forest. The time? 3 a.m. It's like written like Dragnet here. About a month ago, I went downstairs to get a glass of water like I normally do when I can't sleep, and I never noticed it until now, but I always go downstairs near 3 a.m. In between the kitchen and the computer room is a wall and then a staircase. The kitchen is behind the wall, and the staircase is next to the computer room. Oh, thanks, Julia. Sorry, I just saw something flash up on the screen. It's Julia's notice. Walking up the staircase, I saw something white out of the corner of my eye. Turning my head, I saw a figure dressed in black with a white cloth surrounding his head, sitting on the piano bench in front of the piano against the stairs. Slowly, its head began to turn and stopped when what I believed to be its eyes were directed at me. It stood up and began to run towards me. My God, that'd be horrible. Terrified, I ran up the stairs, and looking behind me, I saw it running around and then up the stairs behind me. Turning back, I tried to run into the bathroom when I felt something grasp my ankle. I let a loud screech and somehow didn't wake up my mom, but instantly the pressure on my ankle lifted. And I ran into my bathroom and slid down the wall, tears streaming down my face. I looked back down the stairs and saw it standing at the bottom. Turning back towards the computer room, it slowly faded until I couldn't see it anymore. What a horrible, dicky thing to do. One thing was odd was how it walked. it would fade in and out as it was running, almost as if it wasn't walking, but transporting a few feet in front of itself at a time. The comments would be helpful. Yeah, they sure would. I don't know what you dealt with there. That's very strange. That is an interesting observation, though. Seeing it flashing in and out as it's moving. So I mean, obviously it doesn't really have legs in the traditional sense. So it's not really, any spirit is not projecting itself by virtue of a skeleton and muscles and, motion, mechanical motion of physical apparatus. It's all energy. So what this person saw, I think, is very profound in that it was moving towards her, but it was more her, I assume her, I don't know, but it was more just a change in position rather than a projection of itself moving through space. I don't know if that makes sense. Not projection, but rather than propelling itself, it was moving itself forward by rapid projections in different parts of the space. And that's interesting, but it's also creepy as hell. Why would it just out of the blue chase somebody? I mean, what? Tag, you're it. Thanks. Didn't know we were playing. I don't think most people would take that as a funny thing, or even cool, or I think it's a horrifying thing to be chased by some kind of apparition. That's just brutally horrible. So I don't blame this person for being pretty shook up by that. That's not a nice gesture. You're already seeing something you can't quite deal with, and then it starts chasing you. Hell no. That's terrible. Ugh, I wish I had advice for that person, but that story is, again, the stories that I'm reading you guys right now are from 2008, so they're quite old. I hope they came to terms with it, whatever they found out. But what a story, jeez. Okay, the next one's coming from Florida. This story is about my father who passed away in 2005, and please note that this is not recent. It was 6 o'clock in the morning, and my mother and I went to go drop off my grandmother at work, and when we arrived back to our house, my mother went to sleep while I stayed in the living room, and while I was starting to fall asleep, I was thinking about my future trip to New Orleans in the summer. Then I could hear the voice of my father, who had just passed away a year before, and it told me, "I heard you're going to New Orleans this summer." I tried to wake up, but something was holding me down for about 5 minutes. I was squinting my eyes, and I said, "Daddy?" And it stopped suddenly. Well, I went running to my mother's room screaming, "I spoke to Daddy." My mother said, "No, you didn't. Stop lying." I told my mom it was true, and she finally believed me. After that, we called my Aunt Susan to tell her what had happened to me, and she told us that when she had got home from work, something was giving her the urge to go downstairs. Well, my father used to live there after the divorce, and my aunt was frightened and didn't go because she couldn't believe it. Then a few days after, my brother Hassan had a dream, and my father said to him, "Take good care of Natasha and Tariq. He is my older brother." My father loved us so much and wants to keep us safe, but seeing and hearing him did scare me, but now I'm fine, and I always feel my father is with me. That's very interesting. Very cool. Yeah, that's pretty powerful stuff. I don't know about the whole pinning you down thing. Like you can't move. You can only sit there and but I guess if it's a loved one doing it, maybe they're stopping you from freaking out. I don't know. Strange, though. Very strange. The next one tonight is coming from California. Oh, my God. We got a call. I got a call. Let's get to our call. Then we'll get to California after that. And this is area code 423. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing real well, thanks. Who am I talking to?
Jose. Jose Ortiz. I'm a big fan of your page.
Oh, thank you, Jose.
I was actually just listening to your live cast right now.
Uh-huh. What do you think? You enjoying it?
Yes. I actually do have a story to tell you.
Oh, fantastic. Take it away. The floor is yours.
All right. So I live in sorry, I'm kind of nervous right now.
Oh, no, just relax. Just you and me. Just you and me talking. That's all, brother.
All right. I live in in Tennessee, and there's a overlooking called Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina.
Okay.
And my ex girlfriend's dad used to say that he used to go there with his friends and spot lights in the distance.
Ooh, nice.
So me and my ex girlfriend went to this overlook around this time about 2 years ago, around November, around 10:30, and we didn't see anything. We were there for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But then out of nowhere, lights just started popping up. Like the best description, like vividly, I can tell you,
Mm-hmm.
was like campfires lighting up in the distance,
Wow.
like getting brighter, brighter, and some of them were moving, and some of them were different colors too.
Okay. Wow.
But ever since then, it was just been like I don't know, like all this paranormal stuff is like kind of cool. Like,
Nice. Wow. So this was kind of like a catalyzing moment for you after you saw these lights. Then you had a bunch of different experiences following that.
yeah,
Wow. So it's like it opened you up in a
no,
way.
it was just one experience, but it did open up my mind. Like, I kind of do think like that we're probably not alone in the universe.
Right. No, I agree
It's crazy.
wholeheartedly. That is really cool. Now, are these legendary lights down there? I mean, are they a pretty popular thing for people to go out and try to spot, or is it not as well known?
Yeah, the the town itself, it's really well known for the sightings. The overlook is called Wise Man's View.
Okay.
Like it's open for public for anyone 24/7.
Oh, nice.
But I took my friends from some of my colleagues there like about 4 months ago, and we encountered some like demonic stuff. Like people were doing some like witchcraft there at whenever we went. So we left. Like we were not going to come back there at any time.
Yeah, no.
But the town itself is really known for the lights, and if you just go visit there, you'll have restaurants and all these kind of antique stores. Just about the sighting.
Now, what does the local legend say these lights are? Is there any local legends regarding these?
People, there's a lot. I was watching a documentary about it too, but there's a lot of spectac. Some people saying that it's like gas, like
like a plasma
particles, like coming out of the mountains.
Okay.
Some other people say that it might be spirits, Indian spirits or something.
Sure.
I honestly don't know. And some people say it's just like fake. There's people like with drones and other stuff, but who knows?
Well, they've been around for like well over 100 years, though, right? I mean, those lights. If I'm thinking of the same area, those lights have been well regarded, and there's long before drones, anyway.
Yes. So you've heard of that area then?
I've heard of the in the Tennessee area. There's some people have like the ghost lights. I don't remember what they call them, but I'm thinking of like ghost lights, and it's near this. Is it near the Smoky Mountains or in that area or the upper?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm familiar. If not in that exact region, then there are other regions where they appear as well. Now here's I don't know if it's all just guesswork, right? There's no way any of us can know for sure, but I think that they're like a nature spirit of some kind, like they're just kind of caretakers or have some function like that. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of them either. But I think that they're more spiritual or energetic than they are like UFO or something like that,
Yeah. That's possible too of a UFO or something like that. But who knows what it is? Like I was stunned by that event. Like it opened my mind up.
That is really cool. I think I would love to make that journey too. And do a lot of people catch them on film?
You actually can't see it on film because like it's too dark. People have been recording. I even tried to record it myself too when I was there, but I got too spooked and just ran away with my girl. And
Baby steps, you got to take baby steps on these things.
Do what?
You got to take baby steps on these things. You can't just rush all the way into it. Take a little step, watch it, and then leave, and then come back next time and do a little more.
Yeah, it's just like they all popped up like out of like at once. So like it caught us off guard.
Yeah, that is curious.
Yeah, you really can't record it because it's too dark.
Okay.
And like I'm not really sure if like the camera's like not good quality or anything, but
maybe it's just too subtle. But I wonder if you could get them through infrared. I think I've heard of some people starting to use like infrared cameras and are capturing these anomalies that before were really hard to capture because of such low light conditions. Did I lose you? Hello? Uh-oh. Yeah, you lost him. Well, thanks for calling in, man. It was great to hear from you. But I guess we got disconnected somehow. Not sure what happened there. But again, welcome to the portal. This is how we roll. I'm sure you didn't get bored of me. I'm plenty interesting, I think. You never know. You never know. But I'm sorry if we lost you. I didn't touch anything, so it wasn't on my end. If so, oh, no, he's still there. I'm not. I got to reconnect myself. That's weird. Huh. How did we disconnect? That's very strange. I'm calling back into my own phone line. I guess it was on my end. Welcome to that lovely dialing sound of Skype. I lost our own connection to our phone line. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. That's just terrible. Apparently it was on my end. So the bottle fell over tonight and my Skype dropped. But that's, not anything. I don't know that that's anything weird. It's just unfortunate, I guess, in the middle of a phone call. Well, I'm sorry about that, brother. I'm sorry I got disconnected from my own phone line. That's pretty... Hey, welcome to Rookie Night here on the Paranormal Portal, ladies and gentlemen. You just can't make this stuff up. Just weirdness. I'm gonna have to do some saging tonight. I blew up my ankle somehow too, so I'm dealing with that as well. So it's gonna be hard to roll through the house saging it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll burn some incense. There's just some funkiness in the air tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And when it gets funky, you got to burn something. Know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. I'm not advocating anything inappropriate, mind you, or very appropriate, depending on your viewpoint. But I am advocating doing a little cleansing here and there, dusting out the old energy sphere, as it were. I don't know if this lighter's going to work. How you guys doing out there? You enjoying the show? Yep, there's special effects, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just freaking dorky sometimes. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I get easily amused with myself. There we go. Cleanses the air, smoke of the ancients. Cleanse the air. There we go. Now we're fumigating. So how you guys doing? Good? Everybody good? You guys having fun? Email from a Bigfoot. What? Email from a Bigfoot? What are you talking about, Julia? What's going on? Oh, I did get an email, but I don't read those emails until we get to a weekend night. I will read that, but it'll be on a 2-hour show. Is when I'll do it. Probably this Friday night I'll read the email from Bigfoot that came in. Yes, I am aware of it. I'm looking at it right now, but we'll read it on the weekend nights, not during these 1-hour shows. I want to do it when we can share it with the most of our listeners, and we definitely have a more of a wider listener base during the Friday, Saturday shows. Wednesday too, but I guess we could read it on Wednesday if somebody really wanted it read in a hurry, but I'd rather wait till Friday, Saturday night. You're hungry. How's everyone else doing? Good? There you are. Big words. I can share it with you also. Oh, well, I mean, if you want me to read it, I sure can. I don't I'm not opposed to that. I just love saving the stories until we're connected to the network, which means we're connected to TFR Live, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. I love sharing your guys' stories where the most people are going to hear them, rather than just on our audience only YouTube shows. So if you're okay, I'd rather wait with it, because I'm extraordinarily proud when people email in their stories, and I don't want to just read it for a smaller crowd. I like for the most people to hear it as possible, because I think those are the most powerful parts of the show. All right, so where was I? Where am I? What's my motivation? 54 of you are here. That's outstanding. Thank you all for being here. Let's continue on. I guess we're in California, and thanks again for that call, man. I'm so sorry I got disconnected. That's so disappointing. Hey, sorry, I guess he got connected. It wasn't on my end. Then I'm like, hey, he's still in the phone queue. I can see. And then I realize I'm not in the phone queue. It's like, oh, God. Welcome to my world. All right, so let's go to California and see what's going on. Everybody wants to go to California. I mean, come on. I want to share something that happened a few years ago that has to this day baffled me. My ex-husband and I dropped off our 3 children at his sister's house to spend the night. We were going to a party and we were going to be late coming back, so decided it would be best for us to pick them up early the next day. According to my sister-in-law, these were the events. The children, my 2 girls and boy and her daughter and son, were playing in the toy room when all 3 of my kids came out and told her they wanted to go home. And they said they didn't want to be there anymore and they wanted to go home right away. My sister-in-law thought it was strange since our kids have always gotten along, so she asked them why, and they said they were scared to be there and couldn't really get much more out of them. She was then able to get my 4-year-old to sleep with her daughter, but couldn't get my other 2 to stay in the bedroom, so she laid them down in the living room on the 2 sofas. She sat next to them reading a book while they slept, and she said that suddenly my son started talking in his sleep. She started to pay attention but couldn't understand anything he was saying. Then my daughter started talking in the same gibberish my son was. Well, she freaked out because she realized it sounded like they were having a conversation with each other. She said it sounded like they would respond to each other and the conversation was getting a little heated. Suddenly my daughter started tossing and it looked like she wanted to get up but was being held down. She started calling their names. And telling them to wake up. She yelled out when she felt someone touch her from behind. She turned around with her fist up ready to sock someone, and there was my 4-year-old saying she's ready to go. My sister-in-law asked her, go where? And my daughter answered, Mommy and Daddy are coming to get us now. She pulled my daughter over to her and sat her in her lap and turned around to look at my other 2. And they were sound asleep, not making any noise or movement. At that moment, the doorbell rang, and it was my ex-husband and I who had returned early because neither of us was comfortable at the party, and we were not enjoying ourselves and felt very uneasy. So we decided to go back to my sister-in-law's. If the kids were up, we would take them home. And if not, we were going to spend the night there at his sister's house. We came in not knowing anything of what had gone on a few minutes earlier. We moved the kids to the spare bedroom and all went to sleep. My sister-in-law said nothing to me until the following morning when she asked me if that had happened before, and of course I said no. I didn't know what she was talking about, and she told me that she had been terrified while all this was going on, and that she swears it sounded like my kids were speaking in tongues. Well, I didn't know what she meant, and she tried to explain what she meant, and she saw she was scaring me. So she said, well, maybe it was nothing, and that was just overreacting, and we left it at that, but both of us could tell the other was still thinking about it. I sat down with my children and asked a million questions, and they had no idea what I was talking about. All I got out of them is that they weren't comfortable in the toy room because the people there don't like them. It's been 2 years since this happened, and I've never experienced anything like this with them, but I've always wondered what it was. Any ideas? Anybody know what my sister-in-law meant with speaking in tongues? Her explanation didn't make any sense to me. My children are fluent in English and Spanish only. I tried to research this and other experiences on the internet, but can't come up with anything. Well, yeah, speaking in tongues is supposedly a divine language of sorts, but I don't know what to make of it either, to be honest with you. Very strange. And speaking of strange, this one's coming from Alabama. Why does it start out that way? Okay, so this is like starting out as if it's already in like a part 2 of a story, and I hate when people do that because there's no idea what the hell they're talking about. They make references to stuff that was in another story, and it's, I don't know, do they think their stories are just posted in sequence with each other? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going to close this one because I don't know what the hell they're talking about. We'll start another one. We'll find some more. I hope everybody's ready for a wonderful Thanksgiving for those of our listeners in the U.S. and anywhere else that celebrates Thanksgiving at this time of year. We just got the turkey today. Sure going to eat some turkey. I'm not a real big turkey guy, though. But it's I don't know why the hell we do that. It's like a never, ever eat turkey. I like the drumsticks, I guess, but that oven roasted turkey is just like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like chewing on rawhide. It's like, oh, I just love this. Give me some more gravy. That dry breast meat. It's like, really? Oh. And you can bag it. You can marinate it. You can do all that stuff, but it's tough to make a turkey taste amazing. I've had a few in the years, but most of them are just dry, rawhidey things. Well, I'm thankful that I don't have to eat this more than once a year. All right, so this one's come from Michigan. I got family in Michigan. All right. When I was 5th or 6th grade, my mother let me stay home alone. I came home from school at about 4, and my mom had to work until 6, so I just stayed. So I had just started staying home alone, so I was sort of still creeped out about being in the house by myself. And one day, I came home from school and ran to the phone to call my friend to see if she could come over. And the phone was in the kitchen, and from the kitchen you could look down the hallway and see into my mom's room a little. Well, we lived in a pretty small apartment at the time. Right after when I grabbed the phone, I looked into my mom's room and saw a figure of this man. He was wearing a suspender outfit with a top hat, and he was looking in the mirror. Well, I dropped the phone and ran out the door and ran down the hall and hid behind one of the walls, and I stayed there for a while because I was too afraid to go back into the apartment. And I got my courage back and went back inside, and I called my friend and told her to come over. Just recently, I told my mom about this, and she had told me that the man I saw was my great-grandfather. She told me that my grandmother had once seen him at the foot of her bed watching her sleep, and she said she was surprised I had seen him. So I have a question for you. What does this mean when ghosts are here on Earth instead of heaven or hell? Well, I have an answer that I believe is true, but I can't speak for sure. But I don't think they are just here. In a lot of cases, I think they come and go. There are certainly earthbound spirits, but I think that the ones that transition, they can come and go at will. They're not bound unless, I don't know, unless perhaps we are reincarnated and then we jump into another experience. But I think there's a period in between where we can check things out, if we choose to. Just my thoughts, though. I don't know for sure. Crazy. Here's one from Oregon. So I've been pondering this experience for many years, and it occurred back in the 70s, roughly 76 or 77. My mom, sister, and brother and I shared a 2-bedroom apartment in the Portland area. I'm not sure if this qualifies as a ghost story. The nature of it is too ambiguous. I was in my early teens, clean and sober and sensitive to things of the unseen. The experience was one night I was alone with my brother. My brother and I shared a room, and I was alone. My brother and I shared a room, and he was gone for the night. Well, I went to my bed at my usual time, roughly 10-ish. Well, I awoke, startled, and saw 2 spirits or entities, both resembling old men, long white beards and hair, and one wore a black cloak similar to a monk's cowl, and the other wore a multicolored luminescent robe, reflective, psychedelic, and both wore amulets. Well, I was terrified and immobile. I could not move. I was transfixed, and I felt that they were going to communicate a significant message to me, and I also sensed that they were neither evil or good. And I know their intention was not to harm me, but as to their spiritual alignments, I could not discern. I saw them through a tunnel, and this was the oddest perception. They were absolutely real and present. However, physical reality was slightly altered. They were present for what seemed like a long time, either due to my extreme fear or lack of maturity. I sensed that they chose not to divulge to me their intention. However, they did communicate to me that they would return. Later, I learned that my neighbor experienced visitations of a particular spirit in his apartment. I'm not suggesting it was the same spirit or spirits, but perhaps the apartment complex was changed with some presence or spirit activity. Any thoughts? I don't know, maybe. That's weird. That's just the part that just kind of boggles me is the diversity. I'm haunted by the Paranormal Portal's opening theme. Choconoid, nice to meet you. Thanks, I guess. I hope that's a good thing. I wrote that song several years back now, I guess. It's called Feline, and if you like the song, you can find the link in the description on Bandcamp that you can check it out and download it if you so choose. But thank you so much. I hope being haunted by it is a good thing. All right, so let's see. California again is coming up on the list. So let's go to California. It's still quite difficult for me to read this today. As I submit it, how many years later we've got a story so definite needs telling, and it's my most personal story as well. How long is this? Well, it's pretty long. Not too bad, though. All right. My father was a practical man. He dealt with life as it came, did the best with what came about, or worked very hard to change it to his liking. When he died, he moved on immediately. He was not present at the funeral, the wake, at his home, or even at the site where he died. I called Dad every weekend, or he called me, and we'd become extremely close after I grew up and spent as much time together as we could, best friends. I have a friend, Jeff, who lived next door as I grew up, and he taught me to drink and swear, but he adopted the role of my big brother and protector as well. And if I was stressed out or something was wrong, he would know it and come over even years later when we grew up and out of our parents' houses. It's the first Thursday in April, 1986, and I've never known the date, and still don't want to. I've never known the date. Oh, the first Thursday in April, 86. They don't want to know the date. I'm sewing the stitches on a blue and pink flowered blouse that I'll wear to go to my dad's ranch on the weekend. It's about 1 p.m, and my husband is at work. For some unknown reason, I got up from the kitchen table and called Dad. I don't call Dad on Thursdays. His wife answered the phone, and she said he was down in the lower pasture on a tractor and should be up for lunch soon since he was already late. Unheard of. Then she said, I hear the tractor stopped. Do you want to wait? I just said, no, just tell him I love him and I'll talk to him later. As I hung up, I thought that was an odd thing for me to say. I would have normally never told her this, as she seemed to resent our closeness. 3 special knocks on the door, and in walks Jeff. What's up? Not much. What are you doing? Don't know. Just had a feeling I should come over. We sat down at the kitchen table and chatted, and I sewed. An hour or so passes. Time is distorted now. And in walks Dan, my husband. I look up at the clock, back at Dan, wondering why he is home so early. And he doesn't speak. Goes to the phone, calls a number. He can't remember any number without looking it up, and I'm amazed by this. My jaw is still in my chest. He says, I'm home. Yeah, okay, and hangs up. I'm still with my hand in midair, wondering what the heck. He got fired? Dan turns to me and hits me out of the blue. And it hits me out of the blue. Sorry, I better be careful how I read this. It can either be an emotional thing or abuse if I'm not careful. I can see it in Dan's face. No words have been said. I felt like I started screaming and probably did. Dan had to hold me and keep me still. It was sinking in faster than I had felt anything in my life, and I didn't want any of it, not one single solitary part of it. This was not happening. I turned to the wall where the picture hung, a yellow house surrounded by the most peaceful river, an oasis of dreams, a picture my dad saw and immediately comment, "That is where I want to retire." Nothing was real. It took me 6 months to realize Daddy had come to say goodbye, and I didn't recognize it. I felt it, but I didn't get it at the time. The last time we were together, he was telling me where the combination to the safe was and all that sort of stuff. I stopped the conversation to tell him I just didn't want to go there, that losing him was not an option. I wanted to go first. I got the standard, it isn't natural for parents to lose their children, so I have to go first talk. We fought in our joking fashion about who would win this one and ended by making a deal. Whoever went first would come and say goodbye to the other one. He held up his end of the deal. However, he was heard from again a few times. My birthday was tough for the first time in my life. He was there to wish me a happy, that's my eldest son calling. He's got impeccable timing. He'll just have to wait. So let's see, where was I? So my birthday was tough. For the first time in my life, he was there to wish me a happy day, something he never, ever forgot. No funny, carefully selected birthday card arrived in the mail precisely on my birthday. No special, perfect, silly, charming present. Cheryl was the first of my bridesmaid at my wedding, and my dad fell head over heels in love with her. Not really, but he was really charmed. And the next year after my birthday, Cheryl called and said she had to see me. Now, weird, okay. She drives over and doesn't even get out of the car. She and her husband were at Laguna Seca for the weekend races. The crowd was enormous, and there they were. And the area they were in was for the drivers and pit crew, wall-to-wall people. And she sees my dad working his way through the crowds, struggling to get to her. And she's just standing there almost in shock. He finally makes it, takes her aside a bit, guiding her by upper arm, and says that he needed her to tell me everything was all right and that none of it mattered. His death and will started a great deal of unease and interfamily dissension regarding his estate, and I asked her, insisted what day this was, Saturday or Sunday, and she thinks carefully, Saturday, which was my birthday. Once I woke to see Daddy standing in my bedroom holding Kiki, and then he was gone. Poof, Kiki, our family cat, had been missing for a few days, and we were tearful without him. I bolted out of bed so sure we would locate Kiki, and we did. I wandered outside to an area I rarely go for no apparent reason, where there were screen crawl space openings in our basement storage area. I heard Kiki's meow and had gotten locked in that area, and for the first time we were able to hear him. My younger sister has seen him since, although I have not. He will rush into my thoughts out of the blue, and I wonder. To add one more occurrence that will make this quite long, but is trippy, significant part, after 20 years, I finally worked up the courage to go see Dad's marker, placed between his parents and previous generations. After a 5-hour drive, we are there. We know we're in the right area of the cemetery, but we can't find the family plot. We're running out of time, and I whisper to the winds, please, please direct me. I beg my husband one more time, drive down that road. I know we've been there before. Suddenly I yelled, stop. Hopped out of the car and without hesitation walked down an adjoining path to the right, and sure enough, 3 plots down is the family plot, and there's Daddy. I sit, brush off my grandparents' stones, and say hello to my great-grandma, and simply rest for a bit, actually quite peacefully, under the tall pine that shades the plot. A smooth, brief wind comes up the hill and brushes my hair, bringing with it the thought that this is the perfect place for me to be, along with an incredible rush of warmth and love. Once home, I called to relay the visit to my mom, who did not say much, but you could almost hear the "sure, dear" in her voice. She called back that evening almost laughing. My older, solidly skeptic sister listened to our mother tell my tale, and she said she would normally have never, ever believed my story except for one thing. She had finally managed to visit Dad's gravesite as well, and her entire trip down to every single detail, literally, had been absolutely identical. I miss him still horrifically after all these years, but am very content knowing he or his spirit is around and just might be forever. When it is my turn, I know beyond an ounce of doubt that Daddy will be there. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful story. Huh. I enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me take a look at the clock and see how we're doing here. One moment. I got to scroll up a bit. And it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be our show for tonight. So I hope you enjoyed it. I, of course, always love bringing you the Paranormal Portal in all of its forms. Please check out the podcast if you guys would. I would really appreciate that. We've been getting amazing response and feedback from podcast listeners. I imagine some of the new faces coming into the YouTube channel have caught our podcast as well. But I see some new names tonight. I just saw one just a second ago. I saw Sheila. Oh, Sheila Ruth. Okay. Good to see you, Sheila Ruth. Thank you. And anyone else that's brand new here, I appreciate it. Likes for the Brentmeister. Exactly, Duke. Thank you. But thank you all for being here. And I will be back, of course, tomorrow night with another fantastic, fun-filled version of Night Terrors for you, which used to be called Bedtime Stories from Beyond, but is now Night Terrors due to the COPA threat of the net. But love you guys. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody, and I'll talk to you tomorrow night, 7 days a week, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here on YouTube. We'll have another show for you waiting. So take care, guys. Have a great night and sweet dreams.